Message of Miguel de Unamuno's Niebla in the Fog of Existence. Hello, in our complex world, I believe many people often question what it truly means to be I and what kind of life they genuinely desire. While reading may feel difficult or distant, some books possess the remarkable power to view our lives from an entirely different perspective. Today, I would like to introduce you to Niebla, The Fog, a novel by Miguel de Unamuno, one of Spain's greatest literary figures. This book goes beyond a simple story, offering profound questions about ourselves and the world, and providing readers with opportunities for deep reflection. 1. Summary: to whose hands does my existence belong? Niebla is a novel in a unique form known as a niebla, a neologism coined by Unamuno himself. Unlike traditional narratives, this form emphasizes philosophical musings and dialogue between characters, rather than focusing on plot or psychological descriptions of the characters. The protagonist, Agustin Perez, is a young man who, despite his wealth, lives a hollow life devoid of purpose. One day, while walking, he locks eyes with a woman named Eugenia and, as if by fate, falls in love. This love gives Agustin a sense of purpose for his otherwise meaningless life. He strives to win her heart, but Eugenia already has a lover and is soon caught up in a web of false affections, including one driven by greed for Agustin's wealth. Amid the despair of unrequited love, betrayal, and the uncertainty of life, Agustin becomes trapped in deep existential despair. He begins to question his very existence. Is he a real person, or merely a ghost-like figure wandering through a vast fog? Eventually, Agustin decides to end his life by suicide. Before his death, he seeks out Professor Miguel de Unamuno, the author and philosopher, to express his existential unease and hope for guidance. However, this encounter becomes a shocking turning point for Agustin's life, or perhaps his very existence itself. Unamuno calmly declares to Agustin, "You are not a real human being but merely a fictional character created in my novel. I am your author, and your life and death depend entirely on my will." This revelation shocks Agustin, who fiercely resists, asserting that he is a real person with free will. In turn, he poses a counter-question to Unamuno: "Are you not also a created being, crafted by God? Could you not also be merely a character in someone else's novel?" This outcry marks the core of the novel and leaves readers in a state of shock. The boundary between author and character is shattered, raising fundamental questions about the essence of existence. Ultimately, Unamuno decides Agustin's fate, and Agustin, crying out for recognition of his existence, vanishes, as if destined. Yet his final question lingers in the reader's mind like a dense fog long after the book is closed. 2. Insights from Niebla: the meaning of life and our existence. Niebla does not merely present an original story, it poses timeless questions about the essence of life, free will, and the meaning of existence, resonating deeply with all of us in the present era. 21. Free will versus fate: am I the master of my life? Agustin's greatest outcry is, "I want to live my own life." He refuses to accept that his fate is determined by Unamuno and demands the freedom to choose and face death himself. This raises a fundamental question for us: are we truly the masters of our lives? As we walk the paths shaped by society, fulfill our parents' expectations, or live under the gaze of the world, are we not also characters being manipulated by an invisible author? At times, we feel powerless in the face of vast systems or the whims of fate. Yet, just as Agustin, despite his failure, still asserted his existence and resisted his creator, true freedom might lie in rejecting predestined fates and striving to find meaning unique to oneself. This book encourages us to reflect on our lives, to examine what truly oppresses us, and to find the courage to chase what we genuinely desire. 22. The essence of existence and reality: is this life I feel real? Agustin is shocked to discover he is a fictional character, yet he insists that his emotions and will are real, arguing for the authenticity of his existence. Here, Niebla raises the question: is the world around us, what we see, hear, and feel, truly objective reality, or is it merely a subjective fog within our perceptions? This question becomes even more relevant in modern society. As we live amidst media and virtual reality, our identities on social media often differ from our real selves. The idea, like in the movie The Matrix, that our entire world might be an illusion, no longer remains a mere philosophical exercise but seeps into our daily lives. Niebla shakes our assumptions about the concept of reality and implies that true existence lies not in external circumstances but in our inner consciousness and experiences. 23. Creator and created are we characters in God's Niebla? Despite being a devout Catholic, Unamuno spent his life deeply contemplating God's existence and humanity's destiny. The dialogue between Augustine and Professor Unamuno serves as an allegory for the relationship between God and humanity. God is the creator, and humanity, as created beings, lives within his divine plan. But then, can humans truly possess free will? If God has already determined our fate, what meaning do our prayers and efforts hold? This question extends beyond religion. In the relationships between parents and children, society and individuals, or even in the dynamic between our environment and ourselves, we find echoes of the creator-creation dynamic. Niebla illustrates the sublime human struggle to seek meaning and resist, even in the face of creation's absolute power and the limitations of our existence. This struggle to find meaning amid despair and suffering reflects the essence of what it truly means to be human. 24. Overcoming nihilism, courage to seek light amid the fog. Augustine, unable to find meaning in life, ends up wandering in despair and decides to commit suicide. Many modern individuals can relate to this sentiment. There are times when, despite our efforts, we cannot understand the purpose of our lives or fall into frustration, and the world feels like a vast fog. Niebla does not shy away from nihilism but confronts it head-on. Through Augustine's struggle, it shows that the meaning of life is not about finding a definite answer but rather about persistently questioning, reflecting, and asserting one's existence even in the face of uncertainty and ambiguity. Unamuno calls this human struggle for meaning agonia, and he argues that this very struggle is what defines our humanity. 3. Why read Niebla now? Niebla offers an experience different from that of traditional novels. It demands deep philosophical reflection, and at times, it might feel challenging or uncomfortable. Yet, the questions raised by this book are timeless and directly connected to our lives. Regardless of our level of knowledge or education, we all encounter fundamental questions while living. Who am I? Why am I here? And is my life truly my own choice? Niebla does not provide clear answers to these questions. Instead, it reminds us of the value of the questions themselves and shows that the journey to find answers is what enriches our lives. Even if you find reading difficult, Niebla will shake your preconceived notions and open new perspectives for you. As you read, you'll empathize with Augustine's confusion and resistance, be unsettled by Unamuno's cold gaze, and ultimately, question yourself. In the fog of life, take a moment to pause and open Niebla. The dormant questions within you may awaken, and those questions could become a lighthouse, illuminating your life with clarity. I sincerely hope you experience the profound journey of understanding yourself and the world through this book.